Today I'm going to be talking about how I used to work 14 hours a day, right, for 9 months coming out of high school. So I didn't have plans on going to college. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to be my own boss and I'm going to go down to Mexico and open up my own gym because I won't be able to compete with Planet Fitness, with Princeton Club, with YMCA, right? I don't have that type of money, man. My parents are immigrants. They came here illegally. My dad is a resident now. My mom is a resident too. Through the grace of God, they can travel to Mexico back and forth whenever they want. But, that was back then. Coming out of high school, I'm 29 now. I was 18 then. So I was working 14 hours a day because my parents worked 2 jobs. My dad has been working 13, 12, 14 hours a day, 12, 13 hours a day for like the past 20 plus years. So he's very proud, right? He's a very proud person. He's proud of the fact that he's able to outwork people, and that's his whole thing, right? And he's a binge drinker. I was a binge drinker, and he can binge drink and still work 2 jobs. So he's proud of that too, right? So I worked 14 hours a day. After those 9 months, all those plans of going down to Mexico flew out the window, right? Opening up the gym because I started drinking a lot. I started becoming an alcoholic, right? Started becoming an alcoholic because I got in a little fight with my dad. The plan was for me and him to open up the gym. Something happened and it was God's plan. It wasn't in God's plan for me to go down to Mexico because he's like, hey, I brought you here for a reason. I have bigger plans for you, right? Like now, through the grace of God, I have my own clothing brand, as you guys can see right here, Supreme Messiah. He ascended up on high. Link in the bio if you guys want to support the channel. But like I said, I've always wanted to be my own boss since I was little. So I was like, you know what? Let me go down there. Let me work. But only temporary, right? Not like my dad, who has been working 2 jobs for no real reason. Like he just works 2 jobs to buy things, right? To buy a truck. There's nothing wrong with buying things, right? But the Bible says it is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows. For so he gives his beloved sleep. So he gives his beloved, his obedient people sleep. Even when they sleep, they're gaining something, right? You can work all day, but if there's no purpose behind it, if it's not for the will of God, then you're working in vain. We're working in vain. Like I said, I was working 14 hours a day, but I had a purpose that I was like, I want to open my own business, my own gym, because I've always liked working out. Working out and fashion have always been my thing, right? I've always been into working out and I've always been into fashion. So the gym thing didn't work out. So I was like, what's the next thing? Okay, clothing. Those two things even go hand in hand. Through the grace of God, he knows that with this clothing brand, I'm going to be able to inspire more people than just opening up that gym in that small town where there's a lot of alcoholism. That small town in Mexico where I wanted to go. My cousins are heavy into drinking. There was a drug epidemic down there too with crystal meth. It's not just here anymore. It was down there. It was hitting them heavy too. So one thing I learned about working 14 hours a day for almost a year was that it is not for me, right? It is not for me. Just to work is not for me. So I have to have something bigger. I have to have a purpose. I have to have an end goal for me to wake up and work those type of hours. I'm not saying, hey guys, some people might work 10 hours a day because that's what their job demands them to. I'm not knocking anybody who works more than 8 hours a day, because at the end of the day, people are going to do what they want to do. And some people don't have a choice, or at least we think we don't. But we have to think and say, wait, do I have a choice? Or do I not have a choice? I feel like at the end of the day, we all have a choice. I feel like we have to stop and think and say, am I doing this for the will of God? Or am I doing this to impress the world? Am I working these amount of hours because I want to buy this brand new Mercedes, this brand new F-150 truck, big truck, to impress the world, to impress girls? Or am I doing this for the will of God, to help people, for my kids? Because a lot of parents have kids, but they don't really think about them. They just think about their own. Everybody has their own agenda, right? So the Bible says, "In whatever you do, do it heartily, as to the Lord and not to men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance, for you serve the Lord Christ." That I know that it can be tempting, especially as a young man, fresh out of high school. You're like, I'm gonna work because I'm gonna buy this car, $40,000-$50,000 car. And you think it's easy because you're so young. You're like, I have all this time. But then you hit 25. I'm 29. Then you hit 25 and you're like, wait, damn, I barely paid off that car. But you know what? I'm gonna buy another one. F it. I'm still young. That I always say that the enemy is like pornography, right? When you first start watching pornography, it's like a world of fantasies. It's a world where you can get lost and you're like, wow, this is wonderful, right? This is a wonderful thing. It's like a red apple. The enemy is like, he doesn't come with horns and ugly, he comes disguised as a beautiful woman. And it can be manifested through porn. He can manifest himself through porn. It's like a red apple, right? It's like a red apple, shiny from the outside, but on the inside it's rotten. And you keep eating it, you're gonna get sick. You're gonna get sick, right? Like when you watch corn, you don't get sick right off the bat because you start watching it young, but as through the years progress, you start to look a little weak, you're sick, and depression starts hitting. And the same thing could be said about that shiny car that you're working 10 plus hours to pay off. It's shiny on the outside. Who are you gonna attract? You're gonna attract gold diggers. You're gonna attract vain type of people who are gonna want to be your friend because of that car, though, or the status that you represent. But in the end, it's just like that apple, right? They're rotten. You attract gold diggers. They only want you for what you have. Hey, and I get it. It's like, hey, you only live once, right? You only live once. I'm gonna work. This is how I have to work. But then we reach 33, and a lot of people have midlife crisis. Like I've heard that a lot of people start having midlife crisis at 33 because they tend to burn out. And what I have to say about that is Proverbs 6:6-11. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise, which having no captain, overseer, or ruler, provides her supplies in the summer and gathers her food in the harvest. So yeah, once we can reach a certain age, and we might feel like giving up because we've burnt out. That we have to be like the ants, right? We have to be diligent. That they gather their food during the summer, and this applies to money, right? That we have to, if you're working hard during the summer, save up because rainy days are coming. And if you keep working hard just to keep putting it back, giving it back to the man. Because when you buy a big house that you can't really afford, when you buy an expensive car that you can't really afford, then it's gonna come where you're just gonna be like, damn, you feel stuck. And it's gonna be hard once you're in your mid-30s, early 40s, because I already know that that day is coming. The day is coming for me where I'm gonna be like, damn, I should have saved. I should have been smarter with my money. I should have started that business. I should have started that YouTube channel. I'm gonna end the video right here, guys. Hope everybody has a blessed day.